So, good morning, folks. Good evening, wherever you are joining us from. Good morning. Welcome to this exclusive interview with Atty A Kundu, if I'm getting it right. He's the Deputy Commissioner for Operations at the Liberia Immigration Service. Good morning, Anthony, and welcome to Maryland County, sir.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Okay. Well, have you tasted our Gobopan butter? Like nobody, as a sign of welcome to the county.
Yes, indeed, we have, as a matter of fact, the southeastern areas we have been introduced to the Bamboda. We have been enjoying that.
Okay. Why is Commissioner for Operations, that's Deputy Commissioner for Operations of the LIS, visiting the Southeastern region, sir?
Well, actually, we just took over the LIS, and as Deputy Commissioner for Operation, I'm trying to familiarize myself with the areas and the operation of the areas and evaluate the challenges that my men are facing.
Okay, so what have you seen so far since your arrival in the Southeast, moving from one end to another and having this interaction with your officers?
Well, the problems have been similar. The challenges have been mobile, shortage of manpower, and etc. But for the most part, the problems are almost all the same. That is mobility, lack of mobility, and the structures that some of our men have inherited need renovation. The BPU, that is Border Patrol unit, are faced with lack of mobility.
Okay, so how do you intend to address these problems? I know it might not be only from the aspect of mobility. There are other problems, maybe with some of your officers, personal problems that they might have shared with you as their head. Maybe what we want to know as to how do commissioners intend to get these things done when you move back to Marovia?
Well, to begin with, we have already started working on those before I even started my journey. It's a nationwide journey. I visited about 11 counties as I sit here. This is the 11th county. We are working on the uniforms. We are working on the mobile. We are working on the adjustment of their assignments.
Okay. Let's also look at the issue of being immigrants, or one would say foreign nationals working within Liberia. Commissioner, if you record, or maybe if you might have gotten the history, normally in these rural parts of Liberia, not too many people are taking having all of the license or vacancy documents too serious before they can start work. At times, you have people just coming in, and you have them working without having all of the necessary documents. Were you able to maybe have some other interaction, or maybe having some other encounter with people you have met, maybe in the concession areas or other places?
As a matter of fact, that is part of our responsibility to inspect. We have been inspecting as we went along. We found, for the most part, some of the companies are in compliance, and some are in compliance in some way. I may say. One of the things that we have encountered with them is that we have an agreement with a company called Contact Global. Contact Global is that company that is charged with the responsibility to print out resident permits for all of our aliens that are residing within our borders. And there has been some backlog, and they have, for the most part, accredited to their problems to the delay that is created by Contact Global. But that is also being worked on. Contact Global had one window when we came in. Now they have about 7 windows open, allowing people to go and process their document.
Why only use Contact Global, sir? Because the issue of getting things moving faster, like you're indicating, someone will want to get that things processed very fast and only having a one institution doing all of the processes. Don't you see that to be maybe or delayed or maybe denying government of revenue?
Well, the beginning part of some things sometimes can create a little problem, but as it goes along, improvement comes in, and some of those hurdles can be cleared. Yes, indeed, there have been some backlog, but digitizing our resident permit is one of the best way to go because now we are in this modern society. Uh, we need to digitize our resident permit or other documents so that we can form a database instead of going manually and doing some of this work. Yes, initially it has, but as we go along, as a matter of fact, Contact Global is rolling out of Monserrato now, decentralizing. That's one of our missions here, to find possible placement for that decentralization office space.
Because I wanted to talk about the decentralization, which is very key to whatever thing we do in Liberia, needed services to be delivered to the people. Like you're saying, how soon are we hoping to see the decentralization of the services of Contact Global? If you mark maybe having a one-on-one engagement with them, what are they telling you?
Well, they have said to us and assured us that as soon as possible, they haven't set a date on it, but I'm looking at maybe a month from now for the decentralization and formally educating some of our LIS personnel how to use the gadgets. So,
Yes, so my name is Alfonso Bona. I work for Banner FM and TV. I report for them, and I also write for the New Republic newspaper. It's good to have you in the county, sir.
thank you.
I think it's a good thing for us to, especially from the high authority, to come around to see the challenges in the rural area. And now, my starting point of asking question would be the issue about your tour. I know your visitation did not start from Maryland County. I know
No.
you visited several counties within the southeast and other parts of Liberia. Let's talk about your visit. What are some of the things you saw? Because I know part of your visit is to spark out some of the ills that your officer faced in the field and the things they encounter. Let's talk about some of these things you saw along your way.
All right, some of the things I saw along the way are the shortages of manpower, which is severely hampering the operation of some of the details. And those are things that I'm going to take along with me. As a matter of fact, there's an in-service training ongoing uh, for more than 200 of our personnel.
You want to tell her what is in-service training?
The in-service training is that which you are hired, and sometimes you were hired and not trained, or trained, but you need continuous training. So, and this is just for 2 weeks, but intensive. So that's what it is. In service, meaning you are already working, but you are being trained as a continuous effort of the LI.
So you are talking about some of the things you can't. You talk about the shortage of manpower.
Okay.
Are there more to talk about?
Of course, like I said at the initial stage, mobility has been one of the problems, and that we inherited, but we are working on that. As a matter of fact, uh, since we took over, we have distributed over 15 of mobile vehicles and over 30 bikes issued to our men, and we are still working on some modalities so as to continue to empower them and carry out their day-to-day duties.
I will agree with you in other way and with other Liberians that say, look, Liberian security sector is improving, especially when it with the impact of UNMIR before they left, a lot of training they brought to our people. But still here, they are still complaining in the field of officers continuous to yes. How you intend to treat these things?
Well, I have not encountered what you have spoken about, like people complaining of our officers misbehaving. I haven't encountered that, but we stand prepared for such information if it were to be discovered. We are we are prepared not to condone this behavior. We intend to. That's one of the reasons for training, just to ensure that our men are alert, they are trained and how to handle the foreign national, how to be professional. Those are areas of our training.
I know my colleague want to come in just before we take it off because I've been told this brief. Let me just ask quickly two questions. Firstly, how you intend to solve some of these problems you account on the field when you go back and the duration of time you expect, especially with mobility. Now, let me present the case of Maryland County. Maryland County, over the period of time, the only vehicle belonging to the Liberian National Police, which of course you also part of the joint security, and they too also part of the joint security, was being spoiled and up to this time they yet to have a single motorbike. According to information we gather, they have to use their private motorbikes to get to these places to make sure they do it right. I know you are for the immigration and similar thing you spoke about mobility. How soon and how well we expect your especially in the capacity of operation, expect to react to some of these things.
Where to just let you know, our regional commanders are all mobile.
Okay.
And for the most part, our county operators, our commanders are also mobile.
Okay.
Now, to say that LIS is going to provide within the space of a month or so for these bikes and etc. Funding are authorized by the House of Legislatures, and our CG, which is the Commissioner General, has been lobbying very hard, and things are on the way. But one of the things that we are actually focusing on, besides the mobility, is the salary structure. Where our personnel are very lowly paid, and the CE takes that serious, and he's working on the mobility or modality to see how that can be augmented to a satisfactory level, meaning to empower them, to boost their morale, and encourage them to do better work.
So the issue of mobile network at strategic border points in Maryland is lacking. Like you visited the 1212 Proto border and noticed that too many things are done in terms of communication, either with your LIS officers who are mostly responsible for having the influx of maybe aliens coming in the country. Are there plans on a way to maybe addressing this with the network institution, or maybe having this usual mobile system that OMIO used to have in terms of the in the simple English, walking, talking?
Yeah, okay. Well, excuse me. What this administration has put in place is a telephone system that one does not have to pay a dime to make calls, and you can call from any angle and everywhere. So that
without network, sir?
Well, obviously, it is proven in a way that wherever you are, for the most part that I have experienced, you experience network. Now, those border points, each of those commanders has been given one of these telephones, wherein when you encounter any problem, you make sure that central government or the central office is aware, and then we act on it. So now radio-based radio have been worked on, but those two don't come readily like that. You need funding, and we are working hard to get the funding for that. And international various stakeholders are coming in, volunteering. For instance, the African Development Bank came in and offered 4 vehicles, 10 bikes, 100 laptops, 50 desktops. So those, and they have offered to train 500 of our personnel. So those are things that this administration is working on.
That's part of challenges. Lastly, from my end, the issue of rotation of your officers is might be very cardinal to having a very smooth security system, because when the officers get used to the aliens or the surveillance, sorry, they might carry on other things that is unhealthy for our country, Liberia. Are there plans on a way to also have a rotational aspect of these of many officers? Maybe someone is leaving Maryland, going to Grenku, the other bus is coming back to Maryland and Grenji and other places.
Yeah, those are things this administration is thinking on and focusing on and taking serious. You see, when an assignment, when an officer is assigned to a particular place for a very long time, he becomes complacent, and that becomes to some degree gives courage to want to compromise the security of the nation. So we are taking that into consideration. Yes, and indeed, it's a very important and cardinal issue that we are trying to work on.
So lastly, from my end, just before we end, like my colleague said, um, I want to find out this: if you have visited some of the concession area in the county, especially some of the concession companies, have you visited some of the concession companies?
Yes, for the most part, I have my men out on the field.
Hmm.
I don't go out on the field to do the inspection.
Okay.
But we are specialists that are out there doing the inspection, and they giving us feedback. The GVL and other concession areas within your area and outside of this area have been visited. So
There have been speculations from community dwellers. Yeah, quote unquote. Let me integrate to say speculations. There are